Story 1. Echoes of the Departed.
The memory of that night still sends shivers down my spine, an enigmatic journey through darkness that forever altered my perception of the world. Let me share with you the chilling tale of my haunting encounters along a desolate country road, where the boundary between life and death blurred, and the echoes of the departed called out to me. As a cop patrolling the quiet countryside, I had grown accustomed to the solitude and occasional peculiarities that accompanied my duty. But nothing could have prepared me for the inexplicable series of events that unfolded before my eyes. Late one evening, while driving down the old country road, the beams of my headlights cutting through the enveloping darkness, movement caught my attention. I glanced to the side, and to my astonishment, saw the apparitions of my deceased friends standing by the roadside. Their faces, pale and ethereal, seemed both familiar and distant, their eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and longing. At first, I dismissed it as a mere trick of the mind, a product of fatigue or an overactive imagination. But as I continued my journey, the spectral forms of my friends appeared again and again, their hands frantically waving, desperately trying to capture my attention. Doubt crept into my thoughts, and I questioned the very fabric of reality. Their appearances became more frequent, their gestures growing more urgent with each encounter. It was as if they sought solace in my presence, trapped between two worlds, yearning for connection. Their longing eyes spoke volumes, conveying a message that defied the boundaries of life and death. With each passing night, the chill in the air seemed to intensify, and the road stretched out before me, leading me deeper into the realm of uncertainty. Their spectral waves, once filled with familiarity, transformed into haunting reminders of mortality, their presence an eerie reminder of the fragile line that separates us from the great unknown. A sense of unease settled deep within me, threatening to unravel my sanity. I sought logical explanations, grasping at straws to make sense of these otherworldly encounters. But reason failed me, leaving me teetering on the precipice of understanding, haunted by questions that had no answers. And then, on that fateful night, as my gaze met the reflection in the rearview mirror, my heart skipped a beat. There, seated silently in the back seat of my patrol car, were my deceased friends, their ethereal presence sending a surge of fear through my veins. Their eyes, devoid of life, locked with mine, and a chilling smile curled upon their lips. They had been waiting, biding their time, for this moment. In that instance, reality shattered, and the world as I knew it crumbled into fragments. What followed remains a haunting mystery, whispered among the locals, a tale of a lost cop forever bound to the realms of the departed. So, dear listener, take heed as you traverse the desolate country roads, for there are forces that transcend our comprehension, voices from beyond whispering in the darkness. The echoes of the departed may call out to you, beckoning you into a realm where the living and the dead intermingle. And should you ever find yourself hearing a faint greeting from the back seat of your car, be warned, for the line between life and death may blur, and the chilling truth of our existence may be revealed.
Story 2. Burden of the Damned.
The weight of that night still haunts my soul, an indelible journey into darkness that forever altered my perception of the world. Allow me to recount the harrowing tale of an ill-fated funeral director, a macabre twist of fate that will send shivers down even the most skeptical spines. As a funeral director, I had grown accustomed to the somber nature of my work, but nothing could have prepared me for the chilling events that unfolded on that desolate country road, far from the comforting embrace of the funeral home. It began like any other night, the moon casting an eerie glow upon the empty road ahead. I had the solemn duty of transporting a body from a gruesome murder scene, a weighty responsibility that pressed upon my weary shoulders. The details of the crime were too grisly to mention, yet I knew I must fulfill my obligation to the deceased and their grieving loved ones. The dim headlights pierced the darkness, casting long shadows that danced and whispered secrets. Each mile passed with an unnerving heaviness, as if the lifeless form in the back of the hearse carried an unfathomable darkness within its confines. A sense of being watched, of unseen eyes peering into my very soul, plagued my every breath. As I ventured further along that lonely road, unease began to coil in the pit of my stomach. Shadows flickered at the corners of my vision, playing sinister tricks on my frayed nerves. The air grew thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl or the rustle of leaves in the wind. A chill ran down my spine as I caught a glimpse of my own reflection in the rearview mirror. The face that stared back appeared distorted, worn lines etched with a weariness that mirrored the burden I carried. Something felt amiss, deeply unsettling. It was as if a malevolent force had seized hold of my very existence. With a racing heart, I veered to the side of the road, consumed by a growing dread. Summoning the last shreds of courage, I cautiously opened the back of the hearse, only to be greeted by a sight that will forever haunt my dreams. There, lying in the body bag, was not the murder victim, but my own lifeless body, eyes vacant and devoid of life. A scream of disbelief and terror tore through the night, blending with the mournful howl of the wind. It was a scream that echoed my shattered reality, as the realization sank in that I had become entangled in a dark, inexplicable game. The boundaries between life and death blurred, trapping me in an eternal nightmare, forever condemned to transport my own corpse along that desolate road. To this day, the memory of that fateful night lingers, a chilling reminder that the line between life and death is a fragile thread. The burden I bear is not just that of the deceased, but of my own shattered innocence and the sinister secrets that lurk within the darkest recesses of existence.
Story 3. The Veil of Rain.
It was a moonless night, rain pouring relentlessly, blurring the world outside into a haze of shadows and mist. I found myself driving alone on a desolate country road, far from any signs of civilization. The wind whispered through the trees, adding an eerie soundtrack to my solitary journey. As I navigated the winding road, my headlights cut through the veil of rain, revealing glimpses of the dense forest that surrounded me. Each raindrop drummed against my windshield, creating a disorienting rhythm that echoed the pounding of my heart. Through the downpour, I caught sight of a figure on the side of the road. A young woman, drenched and shivering, her clothes clinging to her frail form. Concern welled up within me, and I decided to stop and offer assistance. Rolling down the window, I called out to her, my voice lost in the relentless rain. She turned towards me, her face partially obscured by wet strands of hair. Her eyes, hauntingly distant, held a glimmer of desperation. Without a word, she stepped into the car, her presence casting a mysterious air around her. As we continued our journey through the isolated countryside, an uncomfortable silence enveloped us. The rain pounded relentlessly on the roof, muffling any attempt at conversation. I stole glances at her from the corner of my eye, her countenance both fragile and enigmatic. Time seemed to stretch, the sound of rain drowning out my thoughts. The road ahead blurred into a tapestry of uncertainty. A sense of foreboding settled upon me, as if I had unwittingly stepped into a realm beyond my comprehension. And then, without warning, she vanished. In the blink of an eye, she dissolved into thin air, leaving behind nothing but the faint imprint of her presence. My heart raced as I tried to make sense of what had just occurred, my mind grappling with the inexplicable. I stopped the car and searched desperately, calling out her name into the night, but there was no response, only the relentless rain mocking my futile efforts. She had vanished, swallowed by the enigma of the darkened road. Days turned into weeks, and the mystery remained unsolved. The memory of that night haunted me, a ghostly reminder of the secrets that can lurk in the darkness. The questions lingered, unanswered, forever etched in my mind. So, my friends, as you traverse the lonely roads in the dead of night, beware the enigmatic hitchhiker who may appear and vanish like a specter in the rain. For within the veil of the storm, a world of uncertainty awaits, ready to challenge your perception of reality.